Hey guys, this is this ball dog. Well, it's the morning. Looked at the clock and confirmed. I looked at the clock and confirmed that it's freaking early. I woke up and I looked and it said my clock said 7 o'clock. I wasn't quite sure whether or not it was 7 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock in the morning, but it is, judging from the morning sounds outside. It is morning. It is kind of cold. It is why I'm under a blanket. And last night, still kind of weird. But last night I was on my journey home on my scooter, and I was, riding my scooter and kind of cold, just whatever, just heading home from the gym. And you ever see like a dog, like a dog, and it like barks, and then you like look over your shoulder and there's like a dog chasing after you, or like a group of dogs. That's what happened, except instead of dogs, it was a group of young men on bicycles. One of which had a powered bicycle, which was fast, and I was on a scooter. So fortunately, I was on the highway and not in a confined area. But as I was turning, about to get off the highway and take a shortcut through I try to pick the safest route. That makes most sense to get home. But there was a group of wild dog men, young men, waiting for me. This is how I knew they were waiting for me. I've traveled this path hundreds of times, literally, and blocking the entryway to my path was a group of young men, dog men. And to me, it was strange because I saw something. I wasn't sure what it was. It was like lights. You know how like people, my grandfather likes to watch, like the sci-fi videos of like UFOs and stuff like that. There's like lights in the sky. Well, there was some, like strange lights in the sky, and they, the story goes, no, well, there were strange lights, dull lights in the darkness on the road in the middle of this this path. And I look, and I can't really see very well. And I looked, and I pause. I'm essentially in the middle of the highway, about to turn on my scooter, and then suddenly I hear the equivalent of dogs barking, and I say to myself, it takes me about a fraction of a second to realize hey, there's a group of guys over there who want to beat me up. And I'm like, shit. So I turn the scooter around. I think to myself, well, there's not much traffic. There's not much people. It's like late at night. But I'm going to do everything I can to get away from these people who I can't really see that well. And the only information I have is that one of them has a very fast powered bicycle. And they are waiting for me. How do I know they're waiting for me? Well, as soon as they saw me, they were like, "Hey, buddy." They start saying, I couldn't really hear them that well. They said something like, "All right, let's go, vampire," or something like that. I heard that, and I'm like, well, this is gonna be bad. So I turn my scooter around. You know, they are approaching quickly, and I count. You know, there's at least like two or three of them, I think. And the leader, he's on a powered bicycle, has his headlights off, but his bicycle still has some like other lights. And that's how I spotted them. And so there I am. You know, clearly. Okay, let me say this first. You know, I was rightfully afraid for my life. Um, and I knew that I couldn't get away because of how quickly they were approaching. And, you know, I'm not. You know, the only option was to try to get away, right? So here I am on a scooter. By the time I see them approaching, I'm already turned around, running away on my scooter. And I think to myself, well, I need to. If I can't get away, and I'm tired, and obviously, you know, I there's no reason for me to. You know, it doesn't make any sense to try to. Uh, you know, I don't want to get beat up clearly, and I don't want to. I don't want to engage. Just like if a pack of dogs were chasing after me, like the last thing I want to do is engage the pack of dogs, right? For many reasons. One, I care about dogs. Two, uh, you know, I could get hurt. And three, you know, I don't want that um, to deal with, you know, as far as, you know, kind of a public image of, hey, you know, there's this guy who, you know, I was like, hey, you know. Anyways, so there I am. I turn around the scooter. You know, only got a few. I don't really have many options. And as a last resort, this is clear a last resort. You know, trying to get help. You know, I can't. There's not many people around, and you know, whatever. I turn my scooter around into oncoming traffic, and here's the decision making. I'm very experienced with um, you know, this is kind of sad. Clearly, you know, this was an emergency, right? Like I'm not the kind of person who rides into oncoming traffic. without good reason. Clearly, that's not allowed, right? But but yeah. Anyways, and I look, and I'm like, well, I'm trying to read the situation, right? And I'm like, well, there's two oncoming cars. Maybe somebody will call the police if they see a guy being chased and he's riding into oncoming traffic. Like clearly, it's pretty obvious, you know, that there's a situation happening that involves should involve the police. At the very least, there's a person riding into oncoming traffic. Yeah, and I wasn't going to. My plan wasn't to cause any uh, traffic disturbances. My plan was to try to persuade the people who were chasing me down, trying to hurt me, to stop chasing me down. And the leader of this pack of dog people who wanted to hurt me got so close to me that at one point I turned around and he was like right there, right? And I think to myself, well, I all I do is look, and I use one of my vampire abilities. So which vampire ability do I use? Given all that information and all of that happening very quickly. Fear. I used fear. That person, I saw that person um, about two arm lengths away from me, about to probably grab me, and it's just instinctually, I'm clearly I don't want this person to touch me, and I don't want to touch this person, and all I do is look and feel energy inside of me. I feel fear. I'm afraid, and I couldn't really see the person's face, but I could see the person. I could read the person's body language, and the person's body language was, "Oh shit." When a person like realizes something or stops doing something, and the chase ends there, and the oncoming traffic was still distance away. It wasn't like I was, you know, too close to anybody or whatever. But I ran away. I kept looking over my shoulder, of course. I stopped. I, I got off the side of the road. Clearly I didn't want to cause any unnecessary trouble. And I went back to the gym and I called an Uber and got an Uber home. And I was pretty shaken. Not too bad. Not as bad, it's not as bad as I have felt. Not as bad as I have felt in the past. Because I had my, you know, good sense about me still. But I was clearly in a very I wasn't feeling good, and it was very obvious. I was trying to downplay that because I didn't want to concern people. I was being considerate, still trying to be, and but I don't feel bad about saying this, but maybe a little bit. But I got the Uber home, and when I got close to where I lived, I told the person who was driving me home, I said, this is what happened. And, there's a group of people who are hunting me down for sport. No, I didn't say it like that, but pretty much, I said, this is why I'm feeling like this. And I would really appreciate it if you were to wait outside the area which, I live. When you drop me off, you could wait like 30 seconds just in case I need to call for help again, or just call for help. And the person who's in the Uber, it was very nice. And he's like, the person's like, yeah, man, no, I get it. And he got out of his vehicle even, and he kind of walked halfway to where I was, to my apartment. And he walked out of his car, and he was like, no one's gonna hurt you while I'm here. You're gonna be okay. I said, thanks, I appreciate that, and anyways, you know, I'm going to, I realize, what can I do to make the situation different in the future? And I'm like, well, I can fix my bicycle, or one of my bicycles, or my fastest bicycle. And try to be more careful on. But, it still affected me, when people are hunting you down. Hunt you down because of what you are, and no other reason than that, and who wait for you. It's just, to me, rationally, like there's no reason, besides that. Hey, the people who are going after me, and they said, well, hey, he's a vampire. That's good enough reason. And I'm like, I know myself, I'm a good person, you know. And so I'm like, well, these people have no reason to hunt me down other than the fact that I am what I am. And so I'm like, well, this sucks. But I'm grateful that I didn't have to. That things weren't worse, and that I knew what to do as far as trying to escape. You know. But I feel like, right, this morning, my energy is very when I know that when I get kind of hostile, it, especially when I'm like trying, there's no reason to be hostile, clearly, like I'm safe and it's the morning, and but I still feel those feelings inside, and my energy and my abilities are affected by my feelings. So I'm like, my priority right now is to decompress and relax, because I don't want to give off that energy at all. And there are a lot of smart people that I interact with on a daily basis that know when I'm being hostile, and I care about them, and I care about other people. So I'm like, okay, I gotta relax, gotta try to relax, decompress, you know. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And I know that I don't have all the tools necessary to fix my bikes right now, but I can work on that. And I know there's a Christmas party tonight that I'm going to, and I'm thinking, I was thinking last night about it, and I'm thinking about it right now, that, just the fact that it's at night poses a danger and a risk to me now that I'm reminded and aware that, there have been times when I've been in danger and and guys chasing me down, but there hasn't been a gang of guys. I mean, there has, but they were really. It was like a group of younger guys that, like, okay, they weren't actually. They chased to a point and they stopped. It was kind of like a game, but no, these guys were semi-professional chasers, and they were not going to stop until I was, I don't know, yeah. So, anyways, I'm considering, trying to get a ride home. I don't want to ask for help, I don't want to ask for a ride, but I want to try to get an Uber. But, at the same time, like, I don't want to be spending all my money on Ubers. But, I realize it's one of those things that I got to, if it's a safety thing, it's something I got to do. Uh, and I think when like, as far as decompression and making sense of things for me, it's not so much like, oh, I almost got beat up last night, or, got put in danger. But the fact that it was because I am a vampire that these people wanted to hurt me, definitely had that fact, had a impact on me. And I'm not making things up as far as because to justify the reason why these people. I mean, the leader, literally said, "Hey, vampire, let's go." And like, it was like the person just made it very obvious why they wanted to hurt me. So that had a psychological impact on me. So I need to think about that. Because I don't like being scared. And I don't like using my abilities. And, in a manner like that, clearly. It's not my. I don't like using. When I do that, it has a psychological impact on me too. Because, I'm a spiritual person. I believe in God. And yeah. So I'm going to try to figure things out and make the best choices. And, try to improve my mood. But, I think I did the right thing. I let my friend, my one of my mentors, uh, let my work know that I was in a dangerous situation. As soon as I got home, I let them know. I said, to relay information, to communicate. And I know it helps explain why I behave and feel the way I do. It helps me. So, anyways, I don't think this would have happened if it was during the daytime. Usually, when I am attacked by people, it's at nighttime. If there's only been a handful of times, but every time it's at night. And yeah, so just want to say that helps me talk about it. Clearly, these videos, are to there's different reasons why I make these videos. One of the reasons is to help me talk. So I appreciate it, and appreciate y'all for listening. And I'm gonna try to chill out a bit and not get not stay upset. So I'm gonna try to relax, and I appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.